The Barbie movie. I don't have anything pink. So, as you can imagine, I was never like a huge Barbie fan. But, you know, when I was like a little kid, I did, play with a Barbie dream house occasionally with my action figures, but like they needed a place to live. But I gotta admit, when I first saw the trailer for the Barbie movie, I was actually pretty stoked for it. I thought it looked like an incredible twist on what you think a Barbie movie would be. And to be honest with you, I was kind of more excited for that than I was something like the Five Nights at Freddy's movies. Now, since the second trailer of Five Nights at Freddy's, the movie, has come out, I'm still pretty freaking excited for that. Anyway, the Barbie movie looked better than what I thought it was going to be, and I'm happy to say that it was pretty good. Was it the best movie of the year? I mean, I don't think so. There was a bunch of other good movies that came out. I mean, Across the Spider-Verse was really, really good. I really like the new Indiana Jones movie, Dial of Destiny, which I feel like that's slept on, if I'm being honest with y'all. The Indiana Jones, the whole franchise is really good. Even the bad movies are still pretty good. So, I mean, if that interests you, go check out those indie movies. But anyway, trying to stay focused, Barbie. So, it is not like any of those Barbie movies that you might have on DVD, or that your little sister might have watched on repeat back when she was like 4 or 5 or anything. No, this is completely different. And might I say, this movie is rated PG-13, and for good reason, because when we were in the theater, like me and my fiance, there was like a whole family in front of us, and they brought some like little girls to this movie, which I understand. It's a Barbie movie, so you'd think you'd bring your little girls to it. I would recommend, if you're a parent, just like watch one of the trailers beforehand or something, because there's a lot of jokes about
anyone who wants to beach him off has to beach me off first.
I will beach both of you off at the same time.
But you don't even know how to beach yourself off. How are you going to beach both of us
course
off?
I
It
know how
doesn't
to-
make sense.
Ken?
And
Why
you
are
can
you
beach
getting
yourself off.
emotional?
You're going to beach both of us off.
Nobody's gonna beach anyone off.
See, you just know what you're getting into. It was a little awkward watching the parents' reactions in front of us during some of these scenes. For them mostly, I imagine. It wasn't really awkward for me and my fiance at all. We thought it was pretty funny. The whole movie in general I thought was pretty hilarious. To be honest with you, I pretty much had like a smile on my face most of the movie. Like, it either kept me laughing or it gave me an existential crisis, which this movie will do to you. It will make you think about death and life and mortality and how nobody's perfect and we're all eventually going to rot and die. But it's still a really fun time, and I highly recommend it. I'm not going into a ton of spoilers, though I kind of want to. A brief summary of the plot. There may be small spoilers in this. If you want to avoid those, just know that my rating for the movie, 7.5 out of 10. Yeah, that sounds good. 7.5 to 8 out of 10. I'd say it was good. It was good. Going into a bit of the plot summary. Barbie lives in Barbie Land, which is a perfect world for Barbie. And most of the people there are Barbie. Now there's different types of Barbies. Like, you have stereotypical Barbie, which is our main character, played by Margot Robbie. But then you have all kinds of other Barbies. Like, there's President Barbie, the Nobel Peace Prize winner Barbie, so on and so forth. And then you also got a couple of the discontinued Barbie dolls living there, like Midge. Midge is a pregnant Barbie doll, and apparently Mattel doesn't like Midge. All the males in Barbie Land are Kens, except for Alan. There's only one Alan, and he's confused about that too. Anyway, Barbie has a great day every single day, as the narrator says, and Ken only has a great day if Barbie pays attention to him. So already, this is kind of coming off as like a weird relationship. Ken's like obsessed with Barbie's attention, and like he wants to stay the night with her and everything, but Barbie's like, no, it's girls' night, like always. And he basically is just kind of like shunned away. At one point in the movie, somebody's asking, is this where all the Barbies live? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, where do the Kens live? And Barbie's like, I have no idea. So I think all the Kens are homeless. Anyway, the next day, Barbie wakes up, and instead of having a perfect day, she has a normal day, just like an average day. She starts to experience like cold water in the shower, which there's no water in the shower, but she's experiencing cold water. Her feet are flatly touching the ground and trips. It's just very odd for her. And so what she's trying to do is figure out what's going on in Barbie Land to make her, and only her, the other Barbies aren't being affected by this, to make her experience all this just weird phenomenon. So she goes to go see what's called Weird Barbie, who is the Barbie doll that I think we're all mostly familiar with. And I don't mean stereotypical Barbie, like I said before. This is the Barbie that has its hair cut, it's got drawings all over its face, its legs are a little broken. This Barbie's been through it. So Reg Barbie goes to go meet Weird Barbie and see, like, hey, what's going on? How can I fix it? And Weird Barbie tells Reg Barbie the human that she's attached to in the real world is experiencing a lot of these emotions, and it's channeling it into Barbie. So Barbie needs to go to the real world and just, like, fix it. Like, find her human, figure out what's wrong, and try to fix it. And all the Barbies have it in their head that they fix the real world permanently. Like, no woman should ever be sad or anything because Barbie's fixed the matriarchy or the patriarchy, or Barbie's fixed sexism. But sucks that that's not true. And Barbie, when she goes to the real world, Ken tags along, by the way, uninvited, but you know, Barbie's eventually like, all right, come on. And they go to the real world, and they find out that that's not true at all. The real world is the real world, and Ken comes to the realization that men kind of rule this world, and not women or Barbies. And he's kind of overjoyed by this, and Barbie she's not really crushed that men rule the world, she's just crushed about how it makes her feel. Like, she's not perfectly happy for the first time in her life. She's actually, like, feeling other emotions. Ken, he decides he's going to go tell the other Kens back in Barbie Land how the real world is working and inform them of the patriarchy. He's like, oh boy, people might respect us. And meanwhile, Barbie's still worried about finding her human. It just kind of goes from there. Again, I'm not going to go into too much of the plot. I'm not going to break down every single scene, but that's kind of to give you an idea of what's going on. Now, this movie was incredibly creative. The physics, like, let's just start with Barbie World. Barbie World was awesomely designed. Like, it really is like they took a toy town and just had people living in it. Like, it's a straight up Barbie dream house with fake palm trees. The background of Barbie World is just like painted, like, you know, it's just like a backdrop. Like, it feels like a set, like a play set. Like, the water's not real, like the water's just plastics, it's painted on as well, or stickers. Like, she just walks across her pool like it's nothing. The ocean isn't real. There's at one point Ken is going to go surf and he just face plants into the wave because it's a plastic wave, and then he just goes flying through the air, like flying, because the physics in Barbie World don't work like real world physics. They work as if you were playing with toys. So I just happen to have these toys right here so I can use an example. If I'm making them fight and then one of them loses, I might make this one fly away dramatically. Whoa! That's not how it would happen in real life, but in Barbie World, they actually are flying like that. And like, it's really imaginative and great. And I want to say the acting from everyone in this movie was pretty awesome. I really can't think of anyone who did a bad job. I think everyone really just kind of like, they got the movie, they loved the idea, and they ran with it and had a lot of fun with it. And you can feel that in the screen, I feel. Like I said, Margot Robbie as Barbie was great. Ryan Gosling as Ken was great. The girl from Superstore was really good in it. Will Ferrell, he's usually pretty great, but I especially thought Will Ferrell was funny and kind of adorable in this movie. He plays the Mattel CEO because, yeah, Mattel obviously exists in the real world and they made Barbie, so Barbie, when she goes to the real world, she meets the CEOs of the company. Kate McKinnon, she played Weird Barbie, and I thought she did an excellent job. She brought this energy to this movie that was just like, I loved it. Like, she was so weird and it was awesome. She really just kind of captured that character perfectly. Michael Cera as Alan was pretty great. Even John Cena makes an appearance and I was thrilled with it. And like I said, the movie's not afraid to get dark. Like, it really isn't. Like, it makes you come to terms with mortality. It goes into a lot of things that you wouldn't think this movie would go into. And it's not just like, I mean, the movie is pro-feminism, which is great, obviously, but it doesn't just like strictly focus on that either. It kind of focuses on like don't be super attached to a significant other. Like, don't make your personality that relationship, because you need to know who you are outside of that relationship and find yourself to truly be happy with someone else. So you got to be happy with yourself first, and it goes into things like that. It's just really neat, honestly. A lot of not necessarily fourth wall breaking, though that does happen occasionally. I'm kind of rambling, to be honest with you, but I do think the movie was a super fun time. I think you would have a blast watching it if you did go to check it out. Again, if you're bringing little kids, just like be weary that it's not necessarily made for little kids. I think little kids could enjoy it, but it's definitely got some adult humor in there at some point too. At one point they censor the president because she says mother. So you know, that's a thing that happens in the movie, just saying. But yeah, I mean, like, I'm just kind of spilling my thoughts out on here. This isn't like an organized review or well written out or anything. I don't really like to do that with movies that are still in theaters. I want you to definitely go and watch them yourself. Like, you know, with Death Note, I went into like a lot of detail about that, but that series has been out for like over 10 years at this point, and I've watched it a lot. So, I mean, if you guys are interested, I will do more spoiler reviews of movies and shows and media in general. But for right now, I want to try to keep it spoiler free so you can watch my review, get a kind of a feel of how you might like the movie, and go check the movie out if you like it. But anyway, that's my review of the Barbie movie. I'm going to get 7.5 out of 10. Seems like a really good rating for it, so I'm going to stick with that. But, you know, just my rating system's not any. You can take that with a grain of salt. But that's pretty much it. I appreciate you watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like. Feel free to subscribe. Check out some of my other media reviews. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a good one. Fun little side story. When I was like really young, like maybe like 3 years old, we got a cat, and it was a girl cat, and I never owned a female animal before. Now keep in mind, I was so young that I thought all dogs were boys, so I was pretty stupid. But I was like, oh shoot, I gotta come up with a name for a girl cat? How do I do that? The only girl thing I knew at the time was Barbie, so I was like, let's name the cat Barbie. And immediately my parents were like, no, that's kind of a bad name. Why don't we name it Mittens? Because it was a black cat with like white paws, so Mittens was a much better fit for that cat. Now, eventually Mittens did end up hopping in the dryer without my grandma knowing, and my grandma accidentally killed Mittens. She was heartbroken, don't get me wrong. She did not mean to kill this cat. My grandma loved Mittens as much as I did. In fact, when I would stay at that grandma's house, we would sleep in the same bed together, and Mittens would also sleep with us, but Mittens would come up here and like claw at our hair. So me and my grandma had my aunt make us wigs to sleep in, so Mittens things could like claw at our hair without actually hurting us. So like, and my grandma loved animals. She was like the biggest animal lover you could possibly meet. She did not mean to kill the cat, I promise you guys. Mins just hopped in the dryer, and they heard some thumping, and when they went to go check, it was too late. We were all devastated. And yeah, that's my story with I almost named that cat Barbie. Bye.